listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Intervention. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest intervention news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Intervention.
Hey everybody, welcome to Intervention, Season 11, Episode 9, Brittney and Ricardo. I'm Tamara Berg, I'm here with Michelle Macedo. We've got Phil Svitek. Whenever I say your name, Phil, I get
Phil.
Well, I know that part. It actually took me a while to get the Svitek part right. And every time obviously I know your name. I've known your name for a long time. But every time I get gear up to say it, I psych myself out and go, "You're gonna say it wrong!" And then
it's all good.
And then I say it wrong. Anyway, Phil Svitek. It's also a little bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah, the S and the V.
Yeah, exactly.
In English, don't usually happen.
Coming off of anyway.
Yeah.
We're here for intervention, not my speech pathology. We have Brittney and Ricardo as our subjects for tonight's intervention show. Very different people.
Heavy stuff.
Different places, and
totally
it was
different.
I mean, as much as last week was a shocking show, did you by any chance get to see it?
No, I didn't see it.
You should go back and watch it. It's absolutely worth watching.
I really want to.
It's
I
worth
heard
watching.
it was
riveting. It was riveting.
Okay, I want to watch it.
And Jesse and I were talking about how all he wants for Christmas is a follow-up on that girl. So, I mean, it was a riveting show. And tonight's, for me, was like a painful show to watch. It was just, a lot of time, these bring up a lot of different emotions in people, in me anyway. And I found last week's show, sad but really interesting and intriguing, and this one was just painful sad. And I think it has a lot to do with, well, it obviously has everything to do with the relationships in there. So let's start off with Brittney, the binge alcoholic.
Oh my God, she's 24?
I think they were figuring 24. I think they said at the end, 24 going on 25, right?
24 going on 25.
From Laguna Hills, California.
Yes, she's an Orange County girl.
Yeah.
And they have a reputation.
Yeah, it's, Orange County is a really interesting place.
Yes, it is.
In that, kids who, in my experience, kids who grow up there tend to feel, a lot of kids have that sort of entitlement mentality these days because of how they were parented and that they were given a lot of things.
Definitely.
And in Orange County, I think it's really heightened because that's the society
it's
sort of
normalized
the breakdown
there,
of everything there is, it's all about the money, the status, who you, what you're wearing and what you're driving.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
All of that kind of stuff. So there are a lot of pressures, and it was really evidenced by her interview in the very beginning. She says she wants to be a COO and a CEO and own her own country clubs, hotels, and salons. Now, who has that kind of ambition when they're 24 and haven't? I mean, I don't think she's going to school or anything.
No,
right?
That's the thing. I don't think she's going to school. She's living with her mom, completely dependent on her mom.
Yep.
I don't know what she does. Okay, someone said something about making sure she gets to work on time or something.
Yeah, but I didn't get what she was working at.
Yeah, I don't know what she does, and maybe she wasn't allowed to say or whatever, but doesn't seem like she's doing a lot to get to that goal.
No, exactly. And a person who has, I think it's, a little different when you have people who come at it from, I'm working this hard because I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do, and those are the people I grew up with, was, people who were very driven, very focused on what they wanted to create in their lives, because they did have that ultimate goal of, I want to have this great job and I want to drive this groovy car and that kind of thing. And she kind of looked at, it looked to me like she was coming at it from, I want to be fabulous and wear suits and,
image.
And fancy shoes and hang out in high-end hotels.
Yeah, and drink.
Don't really know how I'm going to get there, but that's what I want.
Exactly.
It's kind of interesting way of looking at it.
I think it's funny.
Work for her.
I'm not sure if she knows what a CEO does.
Yeah.
Not saying that I do, but she's just like, I want to be CEO because it's like the highest one.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
That's the best position.
And she says, they tell me that I'm not where I should be in my life. Really, they tell you that? Really? You don't get that yourself?
They tell you that. Yeah. She's perfect, I guess.
Right.
She's fine.
Yeah. Because if you're 24 and want to be a CEO, you need to be like in management at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty much guessing that's not what her job is at this point.
Yeah, don't think so.
So they say that she drinks 12 drinks a day.
Yes.
Which, can you imagine? I mean, granted, she's a little bit bigger than you and I are. We're kind of on the smaller side. But can you imagine what 12 drinks a day would do to you or me? Let's cut it in half, though. Six
drinks a day.
Holy cats and dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, especially you, and I know that.
Yeah, because you've been around me.
but even so, exactly 6 drinks a day. 3 drinks, that's fine for me. That's totally fine.
Not for me, though.
No, you're like half a drink. So that's a lot of drinks for you. Like
and those
100
glasses
drinks
of wine that they were drinking in the beginning, those big, her and her friends toasting with the Chardonnay. Man, those were like the size of our coffee mugs.
I know. And she was pouring it up to the top.
Up to the brim.
Wine glasses aren't necessarily supposed to be full. Yeah. Like that.
So she says, yeah, I go overboard sometime. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Actually, a lot of people
don't, especially people her age. And she was saying, like, ask anyone. They go out and they overdo it. And okay, some people go out and overdo it. And in college, it's weird, and it's weird that it's normal, but binge drinking is normal.
Yeah.
Which it's not, but we accept it, whatever.
Right. It's accepted. I think that's a better way of putting
it.
Yeah.
And then accept it's a better way. But then I was like, wait, no, but she's not in college. She's not even doing that.
Especially since she's been drinking since she's 18. So you kind of start to figure out where your limits are, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, that kind of thing. But she thinks blackouts totally acceptable.
That's scary.
Waking up in what'd she say? She occasionally
woke up on
wake up in the back of a
floor,
car or something like that.
The back
I don't know how I got there.
A car, and back of a bar too.
Yes, that was it. Back of a bar.
But I know she got into the back of a random person's car. And she kept saying that it was like a booty call or something.
Yeah, I wasn't
She's
quite
like, are you in a town car? That's cool. Driving in style. Gets in the car, disappears off to wherever.
Isn't that kind of what prostitutes
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, and
what I'm thinking.
I think it was her sister who said, Brittney definitely will accept drinks from men because they know that she will pay for the drinks in her own way, and what that means is they'll get lucky, to put it in a nice way, for buying her a lot are drinks.
Yeah, and that is a really common thing, unfortunately.
Sure, it is.
That guys do, which is why you always are watching out for that. Or I mean, I feel like girls are always told to watch out for that. And I'm sure she knows to watch out for that, but she doesn't care. She just wants to drink. That's first priority. And she doesn't even care about where she's going to end up. She's not worried about that for the night, where she's going to be.
Yeah. Wow. And wow. What that has to take a real lack of self-respect.
Yeah. And disconnection from
reality.
reality, but you really have to not like yourself.
And those are the kind of things that were really hitting me hard today. Just, my compassion part of me was really open today, whereas a lot of times like when we're watching Celebrity Weekend, I don't feel so compassionate. But I was feeling a lot of compassion for these people, and that was hard for me to look at her. And this is one of the things. I felt like Brittney's story wasn't really complete because they talked about how She was very pretty as a child. She loved her sisters. Everybody loved hanging out. And at 6 years old, she was 20 pounds overweight. And she was caught hiding food and sneak eating and eating in the closet and things like that. By age 9, she was 180 pounds. By age 15, she was 278 pounds and was picked on at school. Okay, now here's my thing. And you know this. You've heard me say it a million times. What's the underlying issue there? They never talked about that.
Yeah,
but
so
that's
true.
Not normal for a 6-year-old
Yeah.
to be sneak eating.
Yeah.
There's something going on there.
Exactly. It's the problem. The symptom is the being really overweight.
Right.
I mean, and they're acting like it's the problem.
Right.
And that's why she got picked on. That's like another thing. But usually
another layer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Usually overeating is a way to protect yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's putting a barrier between you and the rest of the world.
So feeling like you have to do that when you're 6.
Yeah.
What are
Why?
they not dealing with? She's obviously really angry.
Right.
But that's so true. I don't know. I wonder why no one went there.
Well, and I wonder if, there was no dad present as far as we could tell. There was somebody named Tony and there was a guy in a yellow shirt. I don't know if the guy in the yellow shirt was Tony in the end. That could have been her dad, but that was another question I had. So they grew up and still lived apparently in Laguna Beach, very expensive neighborhood. Having the money to have a gastric bypass at 17 years old.
Yes, that's an expensive surgery.
That's an expensive surgery. They lived this, pretty big life. So I was wondering, where was the money coming from? Where's dad? Were the questions that I was having. Maybe mom and dad divorced at age 6. Maybe that was the beginning of that for
Usually
her.
they mention that.
Yeah, I know. They do usually.
They didn't
That's why I was,
anything.
like I said, feeling like the story was a little incomplete. But anyway, we can make up whatever it was. But, interesting that everybody in the show was actually talking about, she had this bypass surgery, suddenly became very social because she looked in a way that was more acceptable to these people, and jumped into the fast lane of a social life, started drinking at 18. And they actually almost equated her problem with getting thin and having gastric bypass surgery, which I don't really agree with, as you've already covered.
I think that I didn't even think about that, but now that you say it, that the eating is not the real concern. I mean, it's bad for her health. And obviously having gastric bypass surgery, that is, we hear about it a lot, like it's relatively normal, but it's a really scary surgery.
It's very serious.
It's really serious. So,
but it seemed to me like she sort of traded addictions, so she had a food addiction when she was younger, and now she has an alcohol addiction.
Exactly.
And again, going back to, so we're not dealing with the underlying issue. It appears. So by age 21, drinking every night, and it was all coming out of being not prepared for the popularity, and then being afraid of losing it, and being afraid of not being popular.
That makes it sound like a teen movie or something, because it's it's because she got popular, so she got popular really fast, so she didn't know how to deal with it, so she became an alcoholic, I don't really buy it.
But still, has the issue.
Yes.
And binge drinking is very different from, although she's actually both. She does the drinking every day, 12 drinks a day, but then also does the binge drinking. But it seems to me like in a lot of these situations that I've seen on the show, when they are binge drinkers, or when these addicts are able to manage their addiction, that's what makes them think that they're not addicted. Like last week's show, which you didn't see, the girl was sure she wasn't addicted because she can go for 4 days without using. And they lull themselves into this false sense of security that I'm not addicted because I can go for a matter of days without doing it. So anyway, it's binge drinking or binge use even, but it's usually binge drinking is a really particular kind of addiction I find fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and she doesn't see anything wrong with it. you know.
I wonder the next morning when her mom videotaped her in the car, not looking so hot, the way she was acting, she looked awful.
Yes.
She looked like she was in a bad mood.
Yes.
That she was in pain.
Yes.
But she never talks about the next morning and being hungover and anything like that. I guess, I mean, when that happens, usually you're like, oh, or I'm like, I'm not going to do that again anytime soon.
Yeah,
that
the
was
consequences
stupid.
of it. Yeah, how bad you feel. And
yeah, and blacking out is scary. The fact that she is fine with that.
Right.
It's like you have no idea what happened to you. Anything could have happened.
And again, comes back to the self-respect thing. That, you know, because you don't know, if you're truly blacked out, you don't know what you've done, where you've been, what might have happened to you.
Yeah.
And you don't care about that?
Yeah,
really?
Exactly. That no wonder her mom is worried.
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't understand how she can exist and still be okay.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it's youth, and obviously it's the addiction talking. And well, then we meet Ricardo from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Ricardo.
And our first kind of experience of Ricardo is his son Rico on prom night. Now, how cute was that little guy?
Oh, so cute.
In his
so
really
awkward,
nerdy, awkward 15-year-old way.
And he was like talking about how his tie and vest was pink.
And was he going to get crap for it?
Yeah, exactly. So funny.
Oh, my God. And he was the complete heartbreaker for me. I mean,
he was so emotionally open at that point.
Yeah.
You know the point right before boys that age get, you know, you could go two ways.
Yes.
Or they get like really
bitter.
rough, or they are taught to like close up and they shut down.
Yeah.
And he's at that point that's super sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I could just imagine when his sister said that the dad doesn't show up for like choir, for Rico, and for all these things, the dad doesn't show up, and I could just see that happening.
Yeah.
And see him being so disappointed, and just that's so upsetting.
That's the killer for me, and that's why this one was so heartbreaking, because I have how do I say this? You know, it's John. John always teases me about this. That I love. Kids need to have a carefree childhood. That is an absolute law to me, and because I did, you know, I mean, it's not to say, you know, we don't have problems. It's not to say we don't have problems.
No, I know what you mean.
But I believe children should be, you know, be able to laugh and be happy and play. That's their job.
Yeah.
You know, and worries and burdens are not a child's world.
They shouldn't be taking care. Yeah.
And so when I see kids I know going through painful times or having heartache of any kind, I mean, I had this trouble with my younger sister when we were little. It's one of those just core beliefs that I've always had, that and when I see kids not being carefree, it just kills me. And so to see him, he's, you know, he's on the verge of adulthood, and I know life changes then, and that carefreeness really does go away. But you know, seeing kids sad just breaks my heart. It just kills me.
That's funny that you say that, because I was at a rehearsal the other day, and we were rehearsing in the park, and just, you know, other people were like running and doing whatever, and this kid was on a bike. I didn't see him. And then you just heard that something fell over, and then this kid was calling for his mom, who wasn't around, I guess, and he was just like, mom, and he obviously sounded upset, and I was like looking around, everyone was ignoring it, and I don't even necessarily I mean, I'm not a person who just is obsessed with kids and all that stuff. But I just went over there, and I was like, hey, let's find your mom. Like, let's pick the bike up. Let's do all this stuff. And everyone was like, what? Like, are you, like, a babysitter? Whatever. I can't deal with it when kids want their mom or something like that, and no one answers. Or they're asking for something, and no one answers. I can't deal with that. Yeah. So I think that it's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know that I cared about it that much until it like happened right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't deal with that. How can you just ignore someone that's like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
And luckily the mom came like two minutes after that.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
so she wasn't lost.
Good for you
Mhm.
for helping out that kid.
Mm.
And so Rico says, you know, he's crying in his interview. He's crying. He says, I don't know what's going on anymore. He's a completely different person. And oh my God, you and I both needed Kleenexes on this one. He was just killing me the whole time. You know, the kids describing their dad, saying he was very humble, very kind. He was obviously a musician, sweet guy. And, you know, interesting. So what happened with him, his road to meth was really different, wasn't it, from some of the ones that we've seen?
Definitely.
He actually started because he was doing great in his job and got a promotion.
Yeah.
Felt like, I'm the sole breadwinner. I've got to provide for my family. Apparently caffeine wasn't doing it for him.
Not doing enough.
Somebody gave him the meth, and you know, I don't know. You hear about all these people that don't have jobs doing all these drugs. Yeah.
And then the Wall Street people that do cocaine, whatever.
Yeah.
But meth in his job, which was
he was a produce manager.
Yeah, something like
a
that.
Supermarket or something.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. And then he got addicted. Doesn't everybody else that does it, you know? I mean, not everybody, but meth is really addictive.
Yeah, it's the first time addicted kind of drug. It's one of those. But talking about all the things that he did, he stole from his family, stole from his brothers, stole from his kids.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
And then you see him pushing his van into the gas station.
Oh, I know.
Wasn't that just? And then, you know, losing his teeth, talking about his teeth hurting.
Yeah, that was a struggle.
Weight loss.
You'd think that, you know, there'd just be a point when you know you've hit bottom, and I guess the point is when your whole family has an intervention.
Sitting around you going, we really love you.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, your teeth falling out and continuing to do that.
It's just, you know, really clear about how strong the addiction is. And he, you know, like everybody who talks about it says it makes you feel like you can do anything. So at that point, like if your life is so terrible, your teeth are falling out, you're wasting away, your relationships are gone, but you go do the meth and all of a sudden all of that goes away. You know, you have a new altered and fake reality that says, no, everything's cool. Everything's cool as long as you stick with me.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
why
your
it's
friend.
So hard.
Exactly.
Well, we've heard him say it. Meth loves me, and I love meth.
Yes. Oh, that was a creepy one. And the symptoms being psychosis and brain damage, just like that guy.
Yep.
What's his name? The one that lived homeless with his mom.
With his mom, yeah.
And his mom was homeless because of him.
Yeah.
Which is just... So I would like to know what happened to that.
Yeah. We're seriously going to need some follow-ups.
Yeah.
But he was, you know, kind of ripe a little bit for addiction with, you know, having this Marine father who was very strict, who beat them,
took out the belt.
Yeah. Maybe that's putting it a little harshly, but, you know, took out the belt on them. And Ricardo said he felt like he couldn't do anything right. So again, it was one of those low self-esteem situations.
Yeah.
And then again, you know, he gets into his great job, sees that he has an opportunity to really succeed, and then drugs.
Does meth.
So meets Christina. They get married at age 23, have kids. I've always wanted kids because they're pure magic.
Yeah.
How sweet was that? I'm so glad there are people like that in the world.
And
I'm not one of them.
That are parents. Yeah, me neither.
I'm not one of them, but I'm so glad that there are people like that in the world because it's a really important job.
Yeah, you know, you hear about all the scary people.
Right, exactly.
Which is, in my mind, that's everyone that's out there.
Yeah.
How come all these crazy people can have kids?
Yeah.
But he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, but then really sad that after only 5 years of being married.
Yeah. I thought they were going to say much longer.
I did too. I would have thought they were divorced for a couple years.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we saw so many pictures of him with his kids older than 5 years old. You know?
Yeah.
So obviously there were pictures taken when they were divorced, but
Yeah.
After the divorce, the drug use really increased. Because what else did he have? He had this great life. He had these wonderful kids who he adored, beautiful wife who really seemed to have it together and was very, lovely and kind.
And could set the boundaries. After 5 years, the second she found out he's doing drugs, it didn't, obviously it must have been really hard, but it seemed like there wasn't even a question.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like,
Which,
isn't it?
good for her, because it's true, she does have kids, and
yeah,
they can't be around that stuff.
Right.
They have to be because it's their dad, but so she seemed to have gotten it together.
Yes.
Which is good, but Leticia, his daughter, is such a daddy's girl and does everything for him. Yep. She's taking care of him, which is really, really sad.
Again, one of those things that just shouldn't be in life. Kids should not have to take care of their dad.
His dad was right. Brother. No, a kid shouldn't have to take care of their parents.
That's too much of a burden.
Yes.
And Leticia was saying that 75% of her day is dedicated to, the care and feeding of her father. And again, she was talking about how how old did she look to you? Early 20s,
well,
right?
Well, first, yeah. Before on camera, just like her face, she looked like much young, like 18 or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I saw her not up close, she looked like 20s.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe early 20s. So, she's talking about how she loses sleep all the time. I worry about him all the time. It's emotionally taxing. That's just such a terrible thing.
Yeah, that is terrible. Because she's an adult and she's worrying if her dad is okay all the time.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's too much.
It is.
I could not imagine doing that. It just seems like she's scared all the time. Yeah. Everyone's scared of what's going to happen. Anything could happen at any second.
Yeah, you're standing on the edge of a cliff at all times.
Yeah, that's not a way to live. Especially, doing all the drugs. His really, really nice son who just wants to go to prom.
Yeah.
He just wants to go to prom and sing in his choir and play music
with
together.
His dad, and have his dad be proud of him.
Yeah, when he's around his dad, he is so happy. And his uncle, I guess, said you just see that it's just pain. It just looks like pain.
Yeah. That scene, to call it one, of the two of them, Rico and Ricardo playing guitars, how come we don't spend more time like this together? Rico says to his dad, and his dad says, because I've been off doing drugs. And that was the moment when you and I both kind of went, okay, you said, well, that's really honest.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a guy who's going to go to rehab.
Yeah, totally.
Because he's partway there. At least he's not totally denying.
Yeah.
Like because I have an important job.
Because I'm doing stuff.
Because I've got places to go. I have an appointment. He said, I'm doing drugs. And so, again, so sad that he has to have that kind of relationship with his kid. But thank God he's at least kind of moving. I mean, the first step is admitting you have a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
he knows.
He's admitting right there.
He knows.
Because I'm off doing drugs. But again, Rico, so sad going, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And he's, 15 or 16
years
old. Again, I'm just going to come back to it. It's a terrible thing for a kid to have to go through.
Yeah.
Then just a little bit more about Brittney before the interventions start happening. We're talking about her sister, whose name was maybe Asia or Aja. I didn't hear the pronunciation.
Aja,
I just saw it. Was talking about how her mom was the weak link in the whole situation, because mom will always provide a home and transportation and money and everything, and mom and Asia have a conflict in the kitchen where she says, you will always be there to protect her. Makes me angry because I know you're always going to be there to protect her. And mom says, well, that's an exaggeration. What was exaggerating about that?
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because Brittney said the same thing. Like, you're overreacting.
Uh-huh.
So, mother like daughter.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But the mom was... And then the mom said in front of the interventionist,
Donna.
Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Donna.
Was Donna.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She said, okay, yeah, that's going to be hard for me.
Right. Good for her for voicing that, as opposed to, you'll see in the one from last week. The grandparents like, no, it's all going to be fine. And they couldn't hold their bottom lines. They couldn't at all. But, Donna said a couple of things I thought were incredibly wise. She was basically saying, holding your bottom line doesn't mean that you're abandoning her, and it doesn't mean you don't love her, was the gist of what she said. And then she said the thing that I thought was the whole crux of it. She goes, you may not have had a lot of experience of seeing people you care about, on drugs and putting themselves in terrible situations and having bad things happen to them, but I've seen them in a casket. And that's why I'm not willing to let them keep going.
Oh my God, I can't deal with it.
I know.
It's so intense.
It was. And really helpful, I think.
Yeah, I wish... I mean, you can't tell someone, oh, you're so lucky. I mean, to tell Brittney that. She just doesn't know, like you said. No. She's too young to know how serious it is, and that she could actually die or a lot of other things. And being in a car accident or whatever is a easy route in terms of all the things that could happen to her.
Yeah.
Blacking out and not being able to know what happened. So I could totally see why her mom would be freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Imagine you have a daughter and you're doing all this stuff for her, and then she holds her bottom line, and then, okay, then she starts prostituting, or she starts doing something else, and then she could end up dead. Like her mom really had to keep her bottom line and did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
then we go to the interventions, right? And going back to Ricardo, and the kids just were killing me in this one.
Oh, so yeah, this one was really got me too.
You and I were both mess. Both kids, their first word, Leticia was daddy, like a little girl. And in this quavering, tiny little voice that was just so painful and sad. And she said, I want you to see me get married. I want you to have grandkids.
Yeah.
But I can't enjoy my life, and you can't enjoy any of yours because you don't have one, because of you. Her letter was really powerful to me.
Yeah,
Don't you agree?
It really was. Because she said it all really concise. Really just to the point. There was no... I think he knows that she loves him. So there was no...
No questioning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And no, comforting, patting to be to make what she's saying sound less harsh or anything. Right. She was just...
Just laid it out.
Yeah, I wrote something down because... But now... Oh.
Yeah, my comment was, good girl. I mean, it was just dead on...
Yes.
What it needed to be.
Yes, because she said she hasn't been able to enjoy moments in her life, the good, positive moments, because she's always worrying about him.
Yeah.
How terrible. And he felt really bad.
Yeah. And Rico, his first word was dad, and it was barely even audible. I mean, it was so quiet and again, so childlike, just going, I need my dad. I feel like I lost my dad. And
yeah.
Candy had talked about it. He's been Disneyland dad, but he needs to be the guy who will help his kid understand about girls and, talk him through whatever it is he needs to talk to, and help him solve problems and that sort of thing. Dad. And be there for his kid.
And I like what she said about music isn't a relationship. Having fun, doing that isn't a relationship. It's a thing that you could do together.
Right.
But it's not the relationship.
Right.
Which is what I think Rico was justifying kind of as a relationship. Being well, okay, we do that.
Yeah.
But obviously there is a lot of other pain. But it's true. It's true. There's so much that Ricardo has missed out on in their lives.
So then he says yes. They were drawing that one out way too long. That was hurting me.
Oh, I know.
We were yelling. I was yelling at the screen.
Yes.
Say yes, say yes. And when he did, his mom was just her expression just exuded joy to me, because it was just,
she's so happy.
it was almost like he was being, this is really kind of lame and cheesy, but like he was being born again, because he was on the road to death, and now he's on the road to living. And they sent him to the rehab facility in Concord, California, the place where I grew up.
Whoa.
Graduated from Concord High School. Go Minutemen. Woohoo.
Woo. Minutemen, that's a...
the Minutemen. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, and I never knew... Probably it hasn't, I haven't lived there in a long time, but I go back all the time. I was just back there 3 weeks ago. I never knew there was a rehab facility in Concord, but
is that a pretty small place?
It's east of San Francisco, and it's in kind of a cluster of a lot of cities. So Concord itself is probably 150 or 200,000 people, but it's surrounded by lots of other cities. There were, just in our little area, there were 12 high schools, so lots of kids, just not all in the same town necessarily.
Looks like a nice place.
Yeah, it was a wonderful place. Going to be a great place to go to rehab. But I learned about that being a facility like 2 years ago on intervention.
Through
what
intervention.
Do you mean? What do you mean there's a rehab facility in Concord? I had no idea.
Yeah, wow.
So that was kind of crazy.
Should look that up. Just follow up.
Yeah.
Don't know if they let you. But.
Maybe next week when I'm in town, I'll stop by and see if Ricardo wants to do a little little follow-up interview.
Good
from
for
the
you.
AfterBuzz. I'd really like to talk to you. So then we move on to Brittney. Oh, good God.
Oh my God, what a struggle and a half. Struggle train.
So her mom starts off saying, a pretty good letter too, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. At one point it got kind of like blamey, and kind of she said, I will no longer allow you to manipulate me, which is kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, yes, is seemingly what it's doing, or what the addiction is doing, but that kind of language, I feel like probably isn't the best way to put everything.
They were putting the camera on Brittany's face when her mom was talking, and I could see her face. She's going, I don't do that. No, I'm not. No, I won't. No, that's not the case. She was just totally denying everything.
I know. When she first started to listen, usually people get soft. They soften up. No, she was not hearing it.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not doing this, and it's out in the street. I don't have a problem.
Yelling at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if you're yelling at a camera about how you don't have a problem, you have a problem.
So usually when they leave, that's the end of the story.
That's exactly what I was like, wow.
So it was really different that they were out in the street. This man in the yellow shirt, who might have been her dad, is talking to her. Donna, actually, I thought was doing really interesting kind of persuasion with her, saying, so we talked to your work. They said you didn't come in last night because you're a Christian and you needed to go to church. And so, you're lying about it. I thought that was a really good persuasive technique.
That
didn't you?
Was, definitely. I mean, those are things that we don't know about. That's
right.
Just one of the many little things.
Right.
Wow.
And so she's going, but I don't see what you see. And then throws the phone. This has made us burst out in laughter because it was so ridiculous. You are seriously overreacting. And she throws the phone, and we're like, pot and kettle, you guys want to talk?
So funny. And she was screaming the loudest. I mean, it was so funny.
But I thought
Perfect
everybody
timing.
did such a good job. Her sister was saying, well, why not go? What's the worst that could happen? You get better?
Yeah, exactly. What could happen?
Why not go and get evaluated? If they don't think you belong there, they'll send you home.
Yeah, exactly.
Great idea.
Exactly. Because all those things are logical arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to them. And just Donna said, if 10 people tell you have a tail,
that was great.
You better turn around and see if you have a tail.
Uh-huh.
You better look behind you. It's so funny.
That was great.
Yes.
That was really good. And so, she just couldn't do anything else. Okay, I'm going to go, but I don't love you anymore.
I know.
Oh, okay.
She's so mature, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the consequences.
Yeah.
11 days in rehab, and then she left to move in with her boyfriend.
Right. Yeah. So, and that will go along until he gets fed up, and he will kick her out, or she will be on the street. And, we'll see. I think the privileged girl from Laguna Hills has some hard days ahead of her.
Yes, definitely. Especially when her well-to-do family is offering her a place in rehab. That's a nice place to go.
Yeah.
After the
but
sober
you know,
part.
like you say, she hasn't had enough bad experiences. She hasn't experienced enough serious consequences yet. Apparently, she hasn't vomited or been, sexually abused enough by people to,
as far as we know.
As far as we know,
everything else is in the dark.
To deal with it. But Mom went to Betty Ford. Mom's holding her bottom lines.
Yeah, wow, that's impressive.
It is. It's really impressive. I love that they're offering that to the families so much more now. They used to do it a little more occasionally. Maybe I might have just been my impression, or maybe they offered it off camera. But so important in these situations to do that. And Brittney, I'm drinking less.
Oh, I know.
Oh, so
Come
only
on.
like 3 bottles of wine a night?
Oh
Is
my
that
God,
it?
exactly. Just yeah.
So yeah, I don't have high hopes for her, but Ricardo, 71 days sober, has let's see, they said he completed 90 days and he signed up for another 90 days.
Yes.
So he can't.
He completed 71 days.
Oh, okay, and then he signed up for another 90
Yes.
days. So he look again. I love that transformation when we see them.
I know, that's the best part.
How much better they look. Him smiling, and he was a nice looking guy.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. Before he just looked like a mess. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't even. I mean, he just looked unhappy.
No,
just
seriously
bad shape, living in a van or wherever he was living.
Oh God, that was terrible.
Yes.
But he's in Northern California in the cradle of my growing up, and everything's going to be much better because that's a good place to be when working on yourself. I'll tell you that. I know for a fact. Not that I've been to rehab. I grew up there. So I think we should go to commercial maybe and just talk a little bit more after that.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on. And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Thank you, Phil. Phil, you haven't really piped in at all. Oh, you didn't watch the show with us. That's right. I forgot. I'm sorry.
No,
I forgot.
I don't watch the. Yeah, those shows freak me out. Unless they're celebrities, I don't. No.
Oh, okay. All right. So we kind of sort of touched on the predictions already, but yeah, for Brittney, I think I'd like to think it's going to happen sooner rather than later for her. But again, I think she has to get a little life experience in and see the ugliness.
Yeah.
And I really hope she doesn't hurt anybody else in the process.
I know, that's the worst kind. It's just so selfish. If, when people hurt other people, it's just totally her problem.
And senseless.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the key for Brittney is figuring out, maybe she knows already, but they didn't touch on it, but figuring out what that underlying problem was that started at age 5 or 6, that made her start overeat and got her into the whole thing. I think there's something else going on there.
Yeah.
And
people aren't just really hungry all the time.
And it doesn't have to be, like some big event. Oftentimes it is in shows like this. But, she's obviously got terribly low self-esteem, doesn't have good coping skills, and needs to figure out how to deal with those things in a way that doesn't involve alcohol.
Yeah.
And this need for outside validation and all of that kind of stuff.
Soothing herself. Was it at either the one in Concord or the one that she went to, where someone at the rehab said that they believe that it's a way of self-soothing when you're in pain.
Yes.
Which is...
Same thing with food, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Creating a barrier between you and other people,
Yeah.
soothing oneself. So, I predict she's going to have to deal with some serious therapy before anything can really change for her.
Getting to that place, I think, where she says, oh, yeah, I think I need some help.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really stubborn, obviously. So I don't know, I think it might be longer than we'd like.
I'm afraid it might be. You know, the other thing is that when she talked about drinking, she never talked about, oh, I was so sick, oh, my skin's bad, whatever it is that,
or the hangover.
Or the hangover. She didn't talk, she just talked about how much she liked drinking. So, yeah, there aren't enough bad things happening to her yet to give her the impetus to change. Ricardo, I think Ricardo is on the road to
definitely
total recovery.
Totally.
Getting things back on track.
With his kids, he thinks kids are pure magic. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't think you're pure magic, not right now.
No, but they sure love him.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that he's good.
Yeah.
He's good to go.
I do too. Next week looks like an interesting show as well, so we'll be looking forward to that.
That looks really interesting.
Yeah.
Her and her old man boyfriend.
Yeah, the old man boyfriend. Oh my.
Feeds her pills.
Can't wait to see it. So I guess we will see you all next week for Intervention. Thanks for joining us.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.